Welcome to Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit Aid Energy, coming to you live from Chase Center in Modelo Cantina. I am Zena, Keita, joined by Monte, Poole, Warriors Insider. And before we get going, just want to say Happy Lunar New Year to our audience, as well as letting you all know that everyone here at NBC Sports Bay Area, our thoughts and prayers are with the community out in Monterey Park, California, due to yesterday's tragic events. We just want to make sure that you all know that we send our love and our support and prayers for all affected by yesterday's incident.
Yeah, it happens so many times.
A little too many times, exactly right. Well, let's talk a little bit about basketball tonight. The Warriors went down to the Brooklyn Nets, losing final score 120 to 116. And that score does not reflect, it wasn't a nail biter. It was not a nail biter.
It became one.
It became one at the very end.
Yeah.
But if you were in the arena and if you were watching this game, you might have dozed off. You might have not noticed, like, hey, I think the Warriors got this one locked in the bag. And then all of a sudden, the fourth quarter.
Yeah. But if you watch this team, the Warriors this season, you also know that, you know, they can get back a lead as good as any team in the league.
Very true.
And, you know, the Nets never truly went away, and the Warriors kind of, they played a different game in the second half than they did in the first half. First half, they played a nice game, 72 points. The defense was okay, not great, but in the second half, the offense just up and died.
Yeah.
You know, and they had 72 points in the first half, 44 in the second half. They've had quarters with more points than that.
Right,
in the entire half. They had 18 points in the third quarter. So it's hard to beat any team in the NBA if you're going to score 44 points in the second half.
1,000%.
Unless you're up, you know, like 100 before you go into the second.
Well, that was what Brooklyn was before, on December 21st, the last time that the Golden State Warriors faced the Nets. They had that 91. You guys, if you don't remember, it's okay. I don't blame you. 91.
It's a game you want to forget.
It's a game you definitely want to forget. And that was the last time that the Nets came out here on December 21st, beat down the Golden State Warriors. So there was a lot of excitement for this rematch, them being at home again, having the opportunity to play against the Brooklyn Nets. Now, this is the second time and the last time that the Golden State Warriors will face the Brooklyn Nets at this regular season. What I didn't even realize until recently, Kevon Durant has not played in front of a Golden State Warriors crowd since he left.
Correct.
He's always been hurt or when they came back, there's been no fans.
Right.
That's
during
crazy.
the pandemic, you know, he played, but you know, there were no crowds. And so, you know, I think it'll happen at some point. You know, I think it'll be great when it happens because he's a huge part of what this franchise has done over the past few years. KD is two-time Finals MVP, you know, with the Warriors. So his crowning glory in terms of team effort has been with this team.
That's true.
You know, so he was a Hall of Famer before he came to Golden State. But
well, let's talk about the teammate that helped him with that, right? And that was a person that was really carrying this team tonight, and that's Steph Curry.
He tried. He tried. Yes, he did.
Right? He tried 26 points and trying to do a lot of versatility, right? He was a two-way player tonight for sure, being able to score the ball, but also he actually hit a milestone tonight, hit 1,400 steals in his career. He's now the 60th all-time. Yes, I think 60th all-time with that. So, I mean, absolutely amazing accomplishment for him. But, again, he can't do it all alone.
Little known secret, well, fact, is that Steph Curry actually led the league in steals one year. People don't know that.
Yeah,
you know, people know. You think of, three-point shots and the scoring and shooting and stuff. But he actually, early in his career, he actually led the NBA in steals. So, when he sets his mind to it, he can do that.
Yeah.
He can do that.
Yeah.
You know.
He's an incredibly versatile player. And I will say tonight was a lot of fun for me to watch him just play against Steph Curry. I felt like there was a lot of matchups, like rematchups you've seen from the backyard.
Did you see that stiff arm he gave Steph?
The baseline stiff arm?
Oh, yeah. God. He was like, get out of my way, kid.
And then Steph gets up and he's like looking at the ref like, and I tweeted this. I was like, I can imagine that Dell and Sonia were probably the person that Steph's like, excuse me, do you guys not see that? That was illegal. But regardless of his performance tonight, and as well as the performance of Jonathan Kuminga and other players around him, it just wasn't enough. Clay and Andrew Wiggins,
their shots aren't there. Their shots were not there.
They weren't there tonight for sure.
If Clay and Andrew Wiggins are going to shoot 6 for 26 as they did tonight from the field, 0 of 10 from 3. The Warriors are going to have a tough time beating most teams. And that's one of the reasons why if those guys make a couple more shots, Warriors win.
Right.
You know, if they go 10 for 26, the Warriors probably win this game. So didn't happen. There's gonna be nights when guys don't shoot as well, but the Warriors have 4 guys they depend on for most of their scoring, and 2 of those guys didn't do much tonight. They got some help from Jonathan Kuminga, who played really well, I thought, and also got some help from Dante DiVincenzo.
That's true.
Other guys, but
we're definitely going to talk about them.
Yeah, but you need one of your starters besides Steph, and JP was okay at times, but you just need a little bit more efficiency from those guys, and they don't have to score big points, but they got to be more efficient in terms of just if you're gonna shoot 10 times, make 4 or 5 of them.
Sure.
If you're gonna play shot 17 times, make 7 or 8 or 9 of them. He made 4 of them, so you missed 13 shots out of 17. That's gonna be tough to win.
For sure. Well, let's talk about Jay Poole.
Yes.
Definitely someone that performed, like you said, was okay tonight. 17 points, and 4 rebounds. We definitely need that out of a guard for sure. But 50% from 3, which was good. And took it to the basket as well.
His 3 ball's looking really well. He's shooting about 42% over the last 7 games from 3, which is miles ahead of where he was early in the season. I mean, he was usually in the high 20s, low 30s. If Jordan Poole shoots between 35 and 40, mid 30s to low 40s from 3, the Warriors' offense gets a big bump.
Right.
And if he shoots that well from 3, all you need is a little bit more help. And tonight, tonight you need a little more help from Clay, a little more help from Wiggs. And Wiggs just still looking for a shot, so that's an issue.
And the thing, though, I liked about Poole tonight, which was very exciting, we just talked about Steph and his versatility, being a two-way player, obviously being a really great offensive threat, but also showing he can do it on the defense, too. Jordan Poole had 4 steals, and I love that out of him because even last game we saw some really great plays out of him when he's not getting calls. Earlier in his career, I would say he wouldn't get calls, and he'd be down about it, he'd pout, and he wouldn't make it back. Completely different Jordan Poole this season, I think. He is getting back up. He's realizing how important he is on that end of the floor, too. Yeah,
I mean, even early this season, there were times when I can remember a specific incident when they were playing the Pelicans in New Orleans. And Jose Alvarado, the little pesky little guard they have, and
he's
the
so
Pelicans
good
had.
at that little
he's a pest.
creeping around the inbound pass. Yeah,
and he was guarding JP, and JP took a 3, and Alvarado came from behind and kind of bothered him. He didn't block the shot. He kind of bothered him, though.
Okay.
And so Jordan misses the shot, but he doesn't get back on defense. Well, guess who did get back? Alvarado. Guess what he does? He drains a 3. And guess what happened? Guess what happened after that? Timeout. Okay. And I'm watching this.
Should.
Yeah, I'm watching.
As it should. You hate that.
And I think after that happened, Jordan has been yelled at enough times for not getting back on defense. And that was one of those times where I just vividly remember how, Jordan, you're not getting back on defense. It's one thing for him not to get back, but it's another thing that the guy who bothered his shot got back and hit the shot. And Jordan was nowhere near that guy.
Right.
It's
like immediately impactful.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear it from Steph and see what his thoughts were on tonight's game.
This is the 3rd consecutive game you guys have blown double-digit leads. Why do you think that is?
Just not sustaining a high level of execution on either end of the floor, letting the momentum slip away, and then it's a make or miss situation down the stretch. Jaylen Brown hits that 3. Royce O'Neal hits one tonight. You give teams an ability to go win the game, with a possession here, possession there. It's the NBA, and we've been on the wrong side of it. But we've beaten ourselves, in a certain portion of the game that gives the other team life, and that's what happens.
Why do you think that's been a reoccurring thing? I feel like we've been asking why a lot lately, but I mean, why? Why do you think that?
Just not meeting the moment in the sense of execution. It's a vague term, but it means not missing a switch, not communicating, missing a box out, fouling instead of make a tough contested jumper, offensively getting stagnant, a little hero ball. You can kind of go down the list a little bit, and it just seems to happen at all the wrong times. And we've put ourselves in a position where, again, we give the other team life, and they take advantage of it.
Kevon was saying how maybe one of the reasons why he thinks that's the laundry list of things is happening is you guys have had a lot of inconsistencies in the lineups, right? Whether it's starting the bench. Do you think that has played a role in the lack of execution in some of those areas?
Maybe, but I think we've shown that we can do it. So, we have to be able to adjust on the fly because we have a lot of, we've talked about it early in the year, we have a lot of options in terms of who was playing. And, after our starting lineup and Loon now as the 6 guys that have rotated through the starting lineup regularly, we've shown ability to put it together. But, recently, I don't know what the issue is, but it's definitely shown to, put us in a position where down the stretch, it shows itself, the lack of execution and chemistry were not at the wrong time. So that's our challenge.
Where do you feel like the sense of urgency is with this team just to get things going?
I mean, it's high. We're talking about it. We're saying all the right things and in the locker room, our prep for the games and all that. It seems like we're locked in. We understand that the moment is now to go on a run, but keep hitting these speed bumps and not taking advantage of how our guys played in Cleveland and moments like that where you feel like, all right, this is our time to turn it up, and we're right back in this position where you're struggling to find any type of winning execution down the stretch or over the course of just putting together 48 minutes. So I said the urgency is high, but we're saying all the right things. We just got to go do it.
How frustrating is that?
Losing sucks. No matter what the reason is. Losing is a terrible feeling, and we hate it. And being 23 and 24, this past the halfway mark of the season, we've experienced a lot of it. So we need to bottle it up and do something about it. I feel like nobody's letting go of the rope. Nobody's thinking that we can't do it. Again, that's our challenge, to not be in a situation where every other night we're explaining why we didn't get the job done.
I guess, why do you think?
What I heard there, winning execution. I feel like that is the best summary of what did not happen for this game. They won so many statistical categories, but did not execute.
Yeah, and for Steph to get up there and talk about, how they're going through games like this and games that they know they should win against teams they know they should beat, and try to explain what happened. And all too often, like he mentioned the phrase hero ball.
Yeah.
I mean, and you don't see that much in the first quarter or second quarter
Right.
or third quarter that much. But in the fourth quarter, it pops up periodically, and it's usually a killer. And for this team, that's the opposite of their identity on offense.
Right.
Their identity is pass, cut, move,
Right.
move the ball, move the bodies, and get a good shot. And if you don't get a good shot, get a better shot, best possible shot. That's not what you saw in tonight, So for a team to have, 18 assists in the first half.
Wow, and then go to.
And then have 10 in the second. 18 first half, 18 assists, 4 turnovers. Second half, 10 assists, 8 turnovers.
You can't win games.
No,
like that. You can't.
That's how leads die.
Yeah.
You have a big lead, and you decide, okay, we're gonna get a little sloppy now, and we're gonna go hero ball. We're gonna quit passing and get sloppy at the same time, and then the other team just closes the gap. Next thing you know, there is no gap, and you're behind.
Right. Well, there was some good that happened tonight with the bench. 50 points to 21 for Brooklyn. We'll talk a little bit about those role players that stepped up for the Warriors when we come back from break. This is Dubs Talk Live.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by FitAid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. FitAid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
YouTube. How are you?
What's up? What
Thanks
is
for
up?
joining us.
What is up?
Already seeing tons of comments in here, and I agree with a lot of you. Yes, losing sucks. And of course, Steph just said it, and a lot of you are talking about how the Warriors need to get together. But one of the words I'm seeing over and over is too much inconsistencies. And that's what Steph just said. Every other night, we're put in a position where we're not knowing how to win and execute.
Yeah, and for a team that won a championship, 7 months ago, that's real weird to say.
Yeah.
It's not like they haven't done it before. It's not like they don't know how to do it. But knowing how to do it and doing it have been two different things for this season, this team this season. And when you're 47 games into the season, you can't sit back and go, well, it's early.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yep.
You most of your season is behind you now.
Yeah.
You got 35 games left to play.
Right.
And if you haven't figured these things out by now, when are you?
Right.
Or even will you?
Right.
And so I think that's where they are right now. So it is to watch them play. At times, you see the beauty of their offensive game. And then you watch them play at other times, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
What are they doing? What are they doing?
And that's, William Hurry, what you just mentioned about these games and the season being behind you, like most of the season being behind you. William Hurry said Western Conference 4th to 12th place is very tight.
Yeah.
We have to start taking these regular games seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what it comes down to. There aren't giveaways anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
there's going to be
space.
some teams that are making the play-in or playoffs that are a 500 team. But do the Warriors want to be one of those teams?
No.
No. And that's where they've been all this season. They haven't been able to pull away at any point. So, and if they don't, they'll be looking at play-in or low seed.
All right, welcome back to Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit 8 Energy. Zena, Keita here again with Monte, Poole. We are going to talk about the bench.
Yeah.
Because despite this loss, the rise of the bench was here.
Yeah.
They really showed up tonight. Their overall statistics, 63% field goal, 83% from three. 83% from three, 50 points, and low turnovers as well, which is amazing. We can start out just talking about Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah. I thought, when the Warriors were winning this game, I thought Kuminga was the story. Because, he's been, for the first half of this season, he was in the rotation, out of the rotation. He's kind of in the rotation, kind of sort of for good. Well, the way he's playing, he has to stay in the rotation.
Sure.
And you saw tonight, if they had won this game tonight, he would have been a huge reason why they won the game.
Right.
He shot the ball well. He was efficient. He played pretty good defense.
Right.
He did all the things you need him to do off the bench to give you energy. When a guy scored 20 points in 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
Yeah. That's impressive.
Right.
On 9 of 15 shooting. So.
And only one turnover.
Yeah.
Which is huge for Jonathan Kuminga, considering that was the biggest thing with Moody and Kuminga.
Yeah.
Just being able to come on the floor and being trusted with the ball.
Yes.
So that was awesome that I saw that as well.
I think you're at the point now with JK where you live with those young kid mistakes. He still makes them. There are a couple times in this game where he decided he's going to go one-on-one.
Right.
And that's not the Warriors' identity.
Sure.
But he ain't the only one who forgets that.
Yeah, right.
But when JK does it, it's like, this is. But then he'll come out the next play and next possession, and he'll do something that nobody else on the roster can do.
That's the thing. His athleticism elevates the game of the Warriors.
Yeah.
I really appreciated him knowing where to be on the floor tonight. Everyone keeps talking about we're missing Gary Payton. We're missing Gary Payton. He was a person that knew where to be on the floor, knew where to dive, when to dive. And I thought we saw that out of Jonathan Kuminga tonight. He played the pick and roll position so well.
Yep.
He held screens just as long as he needed to, and then rolled right on top, and then also was able to finish in traffic.
Yeah.
Really, really well.
Yeah, I think Kuminga's ability to work in traffic. The whole one-on-one thing works really well sometimes.
Yeah,
he can do that, but there's the timing of it all. Steve Kerr, this entire coaching staff hates those zero pass or one pass possessions.
Sure.
Where you get 24 seconds and there's no passing at all.
At all.
And so they had
fish dribbling.
There's one guy dribbling or one guy with the ball the whole time, or one pass and that's it.
Right.
And the ball stops. And so with Jonathan, he's starting to, I mean, he understands that better now. He lapses every now and then into the old, let me go one-on-one, I want to be Kobe kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
a little bit of that G-League Ignite game.
yeah, but bingo. But when you see him out there, you see him do these things, you know then, okay, that's his value right there.
Yeah.
He can do this.
He's so
and he's getting better at the whole one-on-one thing. You know, he's not there yet, but you don't want him to do it so often to where it becomes detrimental to the team.
Yeah.
And occasionally that does happen. It didn't happen tonight, I didn't think. You know, he had a couple of questionable decisions, but for the most part, I thought if they had won, JK would have been a huge reason why, because he was terrific.
He would have been the story.
Yeah.
Speaking of JK, obviously being in that 5 position here and there, in that 4 position as well, Kevon Looney.
Off the
Mr.
bench.
Fab said it in the post game. I don't know if you guys. Loon is a goon. He comes in and he does what he is supposed to do. Another double-double for him. And knowing that Nick Claxton was going to be this athletic big man inside and going to be a problem, Looney did what he was supposed to and did the best he could against that. And what he does is he scores when he's supposed to score and cleans up the boards when he's supposed to clean up.
Looney gave him 14 points and 10 rebounds in 20 minutes.
Efficient.
So
efficient.
So that's what, you know, when Steve Kerr decides to go with a small lineup like he did tonight, you got Jordan out there, you got Steph, you got Clay, you got Wiggins, and you got Draymond. Nobody's taller than 6'7". So off the bench off the bench, here comes Looney.
Yeah.
And you can see his impact almost immediately, you know. And so I don't know that the small lineup is going to be a fixture.
Sure.
But you can see Looney's his impact and his ability to be able to put his imprint on the game, because a lot of times you'll look down there and you'll see, you know, in the paint there's Looney and like 3 guys from the other team.
Yeah. When he's going up, it's true.
Yeah, it's true. It's Looney, and he's like fighting off all 3 of these guys sometimes.
And he's tipping it to himself. I mean, he's such an active post player down there, being able to do that. Let's hear what he has to say about this game as well.
Kevon, Steve said he kind of felt the game flipped in that third quarter. What did you see and what did you feel in that period?
I think we weren't executing as well as we could have. We was getting a lot of, bad shots or not want to say bad, just our offense got real stagnant. They was able to get off on the break. That's where they're dangerous in transition. They got a lot of scorers, a lot of shooters, and I think credit to them, they did a good job defensively. They were switching, mucking up our offense, but we got to continue to get better and execute.
Steve says that he feels like you guys continue to make strides and then you have these lapses. Why do you think that's been an issue for you guys this season?
I can't put it just on one thing. We just have a habit right now of playing good 42 minutes or good 40 minutes, and we kind of just kind of lose our way, lose focus a little bit for stretches at a time. And in a league like this, it's definitely tough to do that, to win that way. Our margin for error isn't that great to start anyway, so we have to continue to put together whole games, and we've shown we can do that. But we got to get out of the habit of having 5-6 minute stretches where we're not executing or we're not sticking to our game plan.
I think it was after the Chicago game, Clay also mentioned that there's just been like a lack of focus or an inability to lock in for the full 48 minutes. When a team with some veteran leaders like you guys have, is that like a accountability issue when you can't focus through in those end of the game stretches?
I wouldn't say an accountability issue. I think it's more of an execution issue. We have been having guys in and out the lineup, and we never got set of a set closing lineup. Even our new starting lineup haven't had a lot of chance to gel and play together. So the guys still trying to feel things out and kind of know how to. You got to have experience to close games and have that chemistry, and we're still trying to build that. We making steps in the right direction, but we got to get over that hump and continue to close games, and we right there every time, but we can't keep having these lapses.
Draymond.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Fit Aid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. Fit Aid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
All right, welcome back, YouTube friends. I'm looking in here. I mean, someone said let's tank for Wembanyama. Really, guys?
Too late for that.
It's a little late for that.
You can't catch the Spurs. You can't catch a bunch of teams.
No.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We can't be doing that. Coach Kerr, really great until the fourth, where he sat the guys with hot hands. Felt like a fumble. Dante, I'm not sure if Dante finished out the game. Do you remember if he did?
Yeah, he was on the court.
Oh,
he was out there.
Okay.
Nobody played the entire fourth, I don't think, but
Yeah.
Dante was out there, period. And Dante played 9 minutes in the fourth.
Okay.
But Draymond played the entire fourth. He's the one guy who played the whole fourth quarter. Everybody else played 9 minutes.
Got it. Okay.
JK played 10. So I think the guys that were out there were the right guys.
Mm-hmm.
Clay played 8. Wiggins only played 3, but Wiggins didn't have a hot hand. Neither did Clay. But
Yeah.
I think in that fourth quarter, when you're looking, you see they had 3 turnovers and 5 assists. That's not who the Warriors are.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 assists in a quarter, it's like they get 5 assists sometimes in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And so they just didn't play their offensive style of basketball.
On that note, Kevon just mentioned it. The switching was really mucking it up.
Yeah.
So what is the answer to that?
Yeah, but when you see a team that's switching, that's fine. But you still have to keep moving the ball, because the more you move the ball, the more you make the defense react in one way or another. It's when you stop moving the ball that they stop switching.
Yeah.
Because the ball's staying in one place, you just stay where you are.
That's true.
If one guy's
Eventually they'll get confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if they're going to switch, you can go to pick and roll a little bit more often. But, that is something that the Warriors have in their back pocket that they use occasionally, and it usually works. But right now, it's still, in the fourth quarter, it's not there.
Okay. And there's also the option to slip as well. All right. We'll join you back on the show. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live. All right, let's close it out, Monte.
Yes.
Memphis Grizzlies coming to town.
Oh, boy.
They're big inside.
Yep.
And the Raptors are coming in too.
Yeah.
Siakam and Barnes are also very large.
Yeah.
We're playing small ball. What's the answer?
I think if you're the Warriors, you feel like you have the key to beating the Grizzlies. You can offset the Grizzlies' size with your speed, and the Grizzlies are young still, and they make young team mistakes at times. As good as they are, the Grizzlies had a better record than the Warriors last year, but the Warriors beat them when it counted. The Warriors beat them on Christmas Day. I think the Warriors, for them to lose to Memphis, they have to help the Grizzlies beat them, which they can do. The Warriors can help the opponent beat themselves.
That's true.
Yeah, we've seen that. We saw some of that tonight.
They can. Guys, we appreciate you joining us tonight on Dubs Talk Live. The Warriors will be back at home against the Memphis Grizzlies. They've got 2 days to rest, but hopefully we'll see what they can turn around from this loss. All right, thanks for joining us. Zena, Keita, Monte, Poole, Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit Aid. All righty.
YouTubers don't despair. Come on now.
No.
It's not over yet, but I think we've seen enough to know that this Warriors team is not a team that can just go out there and beat people by showing up.
For sure.
You would think they have learned that by now, but this team is still learning lessons, and part of that is the fact that you've got so many different mixes of players out there that haven't always played together. But in the past, they've been able to lean on Steph, Clay, Draymond.
Yeah.
And at times this year, leaning on those guys has not been the answer. In tonight's game, I thought in the fourth quarter they had a chance to win this game. They had the lead in the fourth quarter, but they couldn't hold it because they let their offense go to a dark place. And they also didn't defend that well. And you saw the Nets getting up a lot of clean looks at times. I mean, they were leaving guys they were helping off shooters in the corner.
And there was a mention of that too. Of like, I was talking to Dalton Johnson about this. When Kuminga was out there and he was playing the pick and roll defense, when the person with the ball handler was coming off, he was helping off and kind of floating, almost acting like a free safety. And that was what was happening. Was the person that he was supposed to be guarding was going down or going away and setting a baseline screen
for somebody else.
Get
a clean look.
Which ended up with a clean look in the corner.
Yeah.
And Draymond Green is fighting around that baseline screen, trying to get a hand in that person's face, and it was too late.
Yep.
And I was wondering, is that what the Warriors want? Like, yes, Kuminga's incredibly athletic.
Yeah.
But to have him kind of floating around as a free safety, I like that. I guess I get it in the sense of he's athletic enough. But if the communication isn't there of like, okay, Kuminga's floating. You got to watch out for that back corner as his man goes to do whatever he wants to do.
Absolutely.
What's the answer to that?
The only person on that defense that has a license to be free safety is Draymond. Mm-hmm. The problem is that when Draymond does that, he has to be out there with guys who know what he's, who can play with that.
Yeah.
Like Loon can play with that. Right. Loon knows that that's Draymond, so he knows if Draymond's going to be free safety, he knows what to do. Some of the other guys are still learning what to do when Draymond goes into free safety mode, and they're having a hard time at times trying to work with that.
Yeah.
And so the whole defense breaks down. And the other part of that is because Draymond is seeing this, and he's less likely to go free safety, which is when he's at his best.
Yeah.
So he can't be at his best because he's a little hesitant to go free safety because somebody else might not pick it up.
Sure.
And then somebody's going to get an open shot. But against the Nets, at one point, they let Steph Curry, somebody helped off Steph Curry in the corner. Steph Curry is an all-time great shooter. You can't help off that dude in the corner.
It's in the genetics. Come on.
Yeah. Joe Harris getting clean. Like, these are two of the best shooters in the league.
Too,
you can't help off these guys off the corner. I mean, the Warriors could do that when they were great.
Yeah.
When they would play the Rockets back in 5 years ago when Harden and those guys were in Houston, PJ Tucker would get open looks from the corner. That's the only shot PJ can make. Is the corner three.
That is true.
That's the only shot he can make.
That's what's literally keeping him in the league.
Yes.
It's amazing.
But he would get open looks from the three, and I would think, like, why? That's the only shot he can make. That's the one shot you don't want to give him. Mm-hmm. But if you're winning, it's because you're not letting him. He's not going to beat you.
Yeah.
Whereas Steph Curry can beat you from the three.
1,000%.
Joe Harris can beat you. These guys are sharpshooters. They're snipers. PJ Tucker is like an opportunist.
Yes. He's a second, third option.
Yeah,
in the
fourth
offense.
sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah, if he's not shooting
as
the corner
opposed to
three,
a Steph Curry three or a Joe Harris three that's the option.
Those probably
that's
gonna
what
be
we're
money.
setting up for.
Yes,
literally.
yes. So I mean, the Warriors have. I asked Steve Kerr after the game. I said, "What was more disappointing, the offensive execution or the defensive execution?" You know what the answer was, right? Both. Both. We didn't do well at either end. Offensively, I think it was probably more disappointing because they just lost their style of play.
Yeah.
The style of play that made them great. And you see periodically, you don't see it regularly. You saw it in the first half.
Sure.
And then in the fourth quarter, it's like, well, what happened? Who are these guys?
Identity. We've been talking about it all season long.
Yeah.
We got to wrap up, guys. I'm going to say one thing about our fans here in our chat that's talking about tanking and all that stuff.
That's not happening.
It's not happening. All right. And also, let's be real. If you're in the Bay Area and you've been a fan for the last, I would even say 8 years, you're a little spoiled. Okay? Things have been a little nice. This is a little slump.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We don't have to go all the way to tanking.
No.
Come on, folks.
No.
All right. So we appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you for all the comments, all the just the community here on YouTube. Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit Aid. Zena, Keita.
Monte Poole here.
We're grateful for you.
Thank you.
Good night.